Welcome back to another lesson where we're learning D365 Finance and Operations from scratch. In today's lesson, we're going to be jumping around quite a bit. We're going to be learning about SQL, also known as SQL. The weirdos pronounce it SQL, and us cool people pronounce it SQL. We'll be jumping around between Visual Studio and interface and Microsoft SQL Server. Are you ready, Derek?
Let's do it.
Okay. Let's start by opening up Microsoft SQL Server, which I had you pin your taskbar. It's to the right of the gear. Yep. That is the one. Now go ahead and just hit connect here. Yeah, it auto-fills your connection with what you need on these ONEBOXes, so that's good. Go ahead and expand databases. And right-click on AXDB, select that, and go to New Query. So this is a query window where you could type things and talk to the database using SQL or SQL. Now, we know which database that we're going to query into because it says AXDB right next to that green button that says execute. When we want to execute a query, then we can highlight the query, or if it's only one query in there, yep, that execute button that's with the green is how you'll run it, or F5. So we're going to start with a very basic query. We're going to do select. You got to type, yep, space, star, no, star, like shift 8, the star symbol. There you go. Space, from, space, sales table. Yeah, you could select that from the list where it says sales table. Just going to make it all caps, which is fine. Hit execute. It's going to run for a bit. So this returned 14,000. What is that? 594 records.
Yep.
Now, this is useful for kind of getting a feel for what data is in certain tables. However, there might be, especially in a production database, way more records in this table. You don't really want to be returning the entire table. So what you can do is limit the records. To do that, we can use something called top. So after select, but before the star, hit space and go top, space, 100. And then let's execute again. So this will return 100 and then stop.
Okay, very cool.
And then if you want just one record, then you can do top 1. Go ahead and just do top 1. And I think you get the point of that. So whenever you're in a new table or kind of troubleshooting issue, you probably want to find the tables that you're working with, and then you probably want to do some top, probably 100 queries on it, and kind of just look what's in the data in its rawest form. Now, I want to point something out immediately, which I'm going to hammer home. There's something called dataareaid in here. So go ahead and let's go back to top 1000. And let's scroll to the right and find dataareaid.
Is it not all alphabetical?
Probably not. So Be too easy. Might be at the end.
Okay.
Don't see it. So, okay, fine.
Can you
That's fine.
do like a Control F? Like
Nope.
you would do?
No. I'm going to show you just how to get the thing. Usually, when we look at certain fields, and then it's just going to do this, and well, there I just saw it. Go to the right. That's fine. Stop. Okay. Scroll through these. Down. Yeah. The records. See how the data area ID is different?
Yeah.
Well, that corresponds to that company. Remember, we logged in with a certain company and set you up to be?
Yep.
So this, if you're doing a raw query, it's going to return everything across all companies, which is helpful when you want to look at that way. If you're working in data in just a single company, and when you're joining tables together, you need to basically add data area ID in and filter on it and add that into a join. A join is how we connect multiple tables. So if you want just sales orders, let's go into the user interface. I think you saved it in your favorites, so you could just launch your browser. It's on the, we pinned it. We pinned Edge.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah, I think we gave you favorites.
Yeah, well, I know we saved something in favorites.
Yeah, it's import favorite right there. To the right of that. Back one. Wait, why is it? I think you just closed the whole thing.
Yep. So this one?
Yeah. Yes, sir. Probably will ask you to log back in and do your two-step. Oh, okay, it saved it. All right, so this is USMF from the top right.
Yep.
So let's say that we only want sales orders from USMF. Let's go back to SQL.
Okay.
And we're going to add something that's called either, I'm going to tell you a couple different terms that it's going to be known as. It's a where clause. People might call it a filter, or it might be called a range. When people say any of those three terms, so where, filter, or range, they probably mean what we're about to do. So hit space, type the word where, space, and then data area ID. So this is the field that we want. Yep. And then select that. Space, equal, space, and we want single quote. And then we need to type the name. I can't tell if it's single or double. Did you do double quote or single quote?
Just your regular quotations.
Okay, that's not what you need. You need a single quote in this language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. See how it turned red?
Yeah.
And then you want the name of the company. You still have the browser open.
So the whole thing, or just USMF?
Just the USMF. It's that what you're seeing there is the data ID, and then it has a colon, and then the name of the company that it pulled from a different table.
Okay.
So you need to end it with a single quote. I'll tell you. Okay, so let's run that. And then if you scroll to the right, you'll see that this filtered on data ID.
So if I find the data area ID again.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep, right there. So now see you're seeing different records. And there's 752 only selected. So that's another good point. It'll only select as many up to that 1,000, by the way.
Oh,
now,
okay.
The star is basically give me every single field with every single data, which is why you're having to scroll through it. Let's say that we want to see the data area ID at the start because that's what we kind of care about. Go to where it says select top 100 or 1000. Yep. Hit space and type dataareaid. Yep. And then select it. And then comma. And then hit execute. No, the execute button. It's going to put in the first column. You could say, give me certain columns. Remove the comma and the star. And hit execute. And now we're just going to get that column or field.
Okay.
So that's several basic things in one table. So just to recap, star gives you everything. You could select specific fields, especially when we're going to do things later for performance reasons. We don't want to return that whole table. That table had so many fields in it. We only want to join what we need. In SQL, it's always going to give you, if a table is set up a certain way, it's saved per dataareaid. So we need to make sure we're filtering on the company and using the company in the joins. Those are the key takeaways so far.
Gotcha. And if you wanted to pull up multiple columns, can you do a comma and then type another word after that? And
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And you could do multiple conditions in the where clause, but we're not going there. But we could let's just add that. We were about to go there. I was just giving you a second to digest. If you're ready to keep going, we could keep going. Hit comma, and then you could type sales ID. Yeah, let's select it. Yeah, and hit execute.
Do I have to double click from that list every time, or can I hit tab or enter or something instead?
Yeah, you could just type it and hit tab, I believe. Okay. Or select it, or you could just ignore it and hit spacebar.
Gotcha.
I don't have the keyboard in front of me, so I forgot what I do, but I definitely don't select it every time, I can tell you that. It's one of those things that just becomes like second nature to you, and then you don't remember.
Well, what's another one, and I can try it?
Let's see, what else is in this table? Oh, well, just put the same field for right now.
Like sales ID again?
Yeah, I believe you could do the same.
All right, so I hit tab there.
Yeah, that'll do it. Okay. You need to remove the comma, or it's going to be a syntax error. All right, hit execute.
You don't need a comma after that?
No. Okay. You have to, comma separates the fields, and you need to not end in a comma.
Oh, so star was one of the fields technically. Means all.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's, well, pull in everything. Yeah. Good question. Okay, so let's go back to the user interface. And we're going to go into the menu on the left. And we're going to go into modules. And we're going to go into accounts receivable. And we're going to go to all sales orders. Okay, pick one that we're going to use. And just go ahead and click the hyperlink on whichever one you think is good. I hope these all have lines. If not, we're going to fish for one that has some lines in it. So the sales table that we're querying is the header record. Okay, perfect. So go back to your query, select that 00732, because that's the sales order number. Yeah, you copy that. go back into SQL. Now, after it says dataareaid equal USMF, yep, let's hit enter, tab, type and, A-N-D, space, and we're going to do sales ID, space, equal, and then single quotes, and paste that ID. Yep, and then execute. Okay. So now we selected just that one based off the sales ID. So sales ID here is a unique identifier. And that is controlled by something called a number sequence, which we're not going to cover right now, but just know that there's something called a number sequence that you could set up and configure in the system of how it looks. And whenever you're inserting new records, it'll choose the next one in line and then increment it. But that's going to be a later topic that you're not quite ready for. Just know it exists. Okay.
Okay.
So now I want to show you another thing. And that is, right now, we didn't really, under dataareaid and sales ID, since we only had one of them, it's very clear, okay, we're only selecting the sales table. So you can also reference them by doing sales table dot dataareaid. This will become important because if we're doing queries on other lines and they have the same field names, then the SQL doesn't know which one you're referencing. You have to spell it out in all the different fields. So go ahead and in front of dataareaid and sales ID, add sales table dot.
Right here?
Yep, in all the different places. So you have to do it in the field list.
Something like that?
Yep, and then in the where clause as well. Yep, and then front of sales ID as well. Yep. Okay, now execute. And you're going to get the same thing. Okay. Now, you probably don't want to actually type sales table all the time, right? This could become pretty tiresome. So to the right of where you have your from clause, let's go ahead and hit enter to the right of that to bring where to the next line. One more to the right and then enter. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Now, for sales table, after sales table, hit space on the from clause where it says from sales table. Yep, space, ST. Okay, so that says call sales table ST. So now what we could do is go into each of these and do ST instead. Do ST dot. Okay, you can execute the query. Now, what if we don't like what it's saying for the column names? It's saying dataareaid and sales ID. Let's change the names on those columns. So after you have st.dataareaid in the top section where you're selecting the fields, not here.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
No, in the select top 1000. after st, hit space, yeah, before the comma, as, and then whatever you want, space, whatever you want to call this. Let's say LE for legal entity or something. Yep. Hit execute. So it changed the column name for you there.
Does it change it permanently, or just as you're looking at it right here and leaves the data
It changes
alone?
the view. It doesn't rename it in the system or anything. Right now we're doing queries, so we're just like, these are all read only. We're not doing anything that's manipulating the database at all. We're just saying, hey, give me stuff.
Gotcha.
Right now, these are all like select queries. So select is the part that tells you, give me stuff. The other ones would be insert or delete. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think about that and ask me whatever questions that you might have.
I guess my biggest question would be, using this, are you trying to find lines of code that are incorrect, or you're looking for certain data for the company, or why are you
Okay,
using
what
a query
do
like
we
this?
do in this? Why am I teaching you this? Perfect. Okay, this is how it works in general. We are going to program an X++, and there's a bunch of stuff behind the scenes. The code executes behind the scenes. It translates it all into SQL queries, and then it runs SQL queries against the database and then sends the data back. So when you're troubleshooting it, you might need to look at what's the actual SQL query that's being run. It's very helpful for obscure issues, especially be able to go to the raw SQL and then try to run this raw SQL. There's a lot of things that happen in these things called forms, which is what you were in there. You were in a list form, and then when you clicked into it, you were in a different form. And there's a bunch of methods that can hijack the data. So when someone's reporting an issue, the first thing you probably want to look at is the data correct? Because if the data is correct, then something's happening in the code that's making it incorrect. And when you're troubleshooting an issue, you want to separate, narrow it down to what direction to go into. So the reason why I'm kind of showing you this is because you're probably always going to want to go down to the raw data, make sure the raw data itself is correct. And you're going to probably want to, in a form, it could have like 10, 20 data sources in it sometimes, 5, 10, whatever, joined. So someone will be like, this record isn't showing up. Where'd it go? And so you're like, what record? And then that's the question that you're answering, right? Like that'll be a ticket. So what you'd have to do in that situation is figure out the entire thing on the query, a very complicated multi-join query, take it apart piece by piece and figure out why is this specific one not showing up in this form. Does that make sense?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, it's still all pretty much a foreign language to me, so I mean, we're typing all this in and starting to look at it, but it makes a little bit of sense, yeah.
Yeah, but so the first thing, because we're going to deal with tons of forms, and I'm going to show you more in this lesson of kind of how to piece things together a little bit. You're not completely lost. Right now, I'm just having you write queries that I don't expect you to fully kind of understand, other than you understand, okay, we're giving it some fields, and then we're doing it on a certain table, and then we're giving it some conditions to filter on it with the where clause.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think I understand some of those. I wouldn't remember how to write this from scratch, but yeah, I think I saw what we were doing.
Okay, so now, and before you do joins, I recommend kind of writing a query for each individual table so you can look at the data and kind of know what you expect. You can kind of check your work as you go. So now you could do multiple queries in a same window. So at the end of your sales ID, let's hit enter.
Right here?
No, in the very end of it, we're going to do a whole new
Gotcha.
query. But we want to keep our current one. Hit enter again, leave the backspace. So now do select top 100 or 1000, whatever you want to do, star, and then we're going to do from sales line. Okay. And yep, you can do that if you want. Now, hit execute. So it's going to execute the entire screen. You can select, or you could highlight, select top 100 star from sales line. So highlight that and hit execute. It'll only run that query. Select just the top one. Yep. And it'll run just that query. All right. So I'm going to have you try to do this next part yourself. I would like you to try to give me all the records for that sales ID in the sales line table.
Okay, so we've got select top 100 from sales line S1, so we need to put in a filter. We're just looking for data area ID, correct?
Nope, I want you to filter on the sales ID as well, that same sales ID. So go back to the form. Go back to the form really quick.
What form?
No, sorry. Click on the user interface of the application itself. Oh, these are called forms.
Gotcha.
So you have the header record, and then you have the lines. If you hit header, see where it says lines and header under the where you have selected? To the left, up, up.
Oh.
There, up more. There's lines and header there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, that'll show you all the different fields, and this is joined to a bunch of different tables, and it's a pretty complicated form, but those are like fields on there. And then if you go on lines, yeah, then these are the lines. So see this sales order lines detail? These are filtered or pre-filtered on that sales ID. So these are the lines associated with it. We got like a speaker, a television, stuff like that. And you have item numbers and the quantity, how much they cost, all that good stuff in there. You have unit price and that amount. Okay.
Okay.
Which you should be familiar a little bit probably with sales orders or purchase orders.
Yes.
Right? Whenever you're ordering equipment. Okay. This is how it looks in this system. So what I'm asking you to do is basically return me this line section, just all the data in it.
All right, so from the sales line, so we're pulling this up. This is the sales line.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any certain columns you want, or all of them?
I'll just do all of them for right now.
Okay, so why doesn't just running this give you all of them?
It does, but I only want the one.
Which one?
Potentially. The same one that we did before. The zeros, I want you to do the same ones that we selected there. The 732 that you're looking at on the form.
Okay. So, I mean, honestly, I could probably just do this. Maybe.
Let's hope you type it to get muscle memory, kind of the syntax. I think you should avoid copy and paste a little bit at the start because it'll.
Okay.
I mean, it's not bad to do it, right? But you'll remember the syntax more if you're typing it, because we're going to jump between X++ syntax, which is slightly different, and the syntax, whatever. So, but that's why you need to kind of understand the concepts, and then we're going to like map the concepts to the multiple syntaxes. But what do you think? What do you think's wrong here?
Well, I'm not really sure quite yet. Could not be found. Oh, because I didn't change this.
Yeah, you named it SL.
Yep. Just trying to figure that out.
Okay. Now, I don't know if there's multiple sales orders in it, but okay. Yep. So these are all the records in that table now, and then this is joined to other tables, so you can look at. So
I think it would be helpful to show name first.
well, let's go back to the user interface.
Okay.
Okay. Well, let's grab what we're kind of seeing here. Item ID. Let's grab name. Yeah, if it's in there. Product name. Let's grab quantity, unit, and let's grab unit price and net amount. You're not going to remember all that. I just said things. Item, name, quantity, unit, unit price, net amount.
Okay. I guess my first question is, it looks like maybe the columns in here are named differently though than from the, because instead of product name it just says name.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's the fun part.
So when I'm trying to find this column, am I going to call it product name from the user interface? Or am I going to
Yeah,
call it
go
name?
ahead. You're not. Yep, you could do whatever you want here. I don't care about that particular. Let's go ahead and let's just name it the same as the columns in there when you're selecting it. That's a good idea.
Okay. And we also need unit ID.
Right now we're like practicing, syntax and practicing. I'm having you do random stuff to test your knowledge and kind of like build on your knowledge so you can gain confidence. That's what we're doing right now. You won't necessarily need to do this specific exercise outside of this, but it might be helpful for you to kind of.
Yeah. No, I understand that, but I
Okay.
think my main question was like, if the user interface shows product name, but the inside code shows just name as a category, if I put product name in there, will it find name in the column? Like, is it going to be linked all together properly?
No, the real name is what's in the
Is
columns
name.
from the select star is actually name. Yep. We're in this lesson, as part of it, we will get to the point of why those are different. That's in this lesson, or planned in this lesson. We're
Okay.
just not to that part yet. I'm trying to avoid getting you into Visual Studio, which will further confuse the crap out of you, but we're going to get there. But this is why I wanted to show you the star. Yeah, you got the right idea here, right? Or you could just like look at the data. Hopefully you can't hear my neighbor with their bumping the radio and shaking my whole house.
Nope, I can't. I think you're good. Then there should be a net or something, but yeah, there's at least 3 of them right there.
Yeah, sales unit is the other one. Sales price we got already. Let's see, what is it called for the net? Probably over to the left more, or the earlier fields.
Inventory is right there, it looks like. Line amount?
Yep, that's what it is. Line amount's correct. So this is part of the reason. By the way, you need one more comma for because then you have star.
Ah.
Remember, you separate it. Yep. Or you could delete the comma with the star. So you're just returning those, which is fine. Okay, put line number in the start.
Where
in
at?
front of that, at the very beginning of it. Select top 100. Yeah, before name.
Before name.
Line num. Yep, line num. Yep, comma.
And what did that do?
That grab the line num column.
Oh.
It's hidden on the form. So this form is basically simplified when we're looking at the user interface, right? We're not seeing half these fields. And if that grid's like super simplified. Let's hit execute, just run the bottom one. How do we do that? Okay. So let's look at the user interface. What do we got?
All right, so we've got mid-range speaker, 5 each at 480 for 2400. 5 each, 480 for 2400. So yeah, it seemed like it pulled it out correctly.
Mm-hmm. Okay, give me 1 second. Okay. Now, it auto orders by line number by default. Let's say we don't want to order by line number. Let's say, well, let's start with, we do want to order by line number, but let's say we want to do it 1098.
Okay.
How do we do that? So
No
go
idea.
to where you have your where. Nope, all the way to the end of it. You're adding it after the where clause. Nope, because you have the and. All that is part of the where clause, all the statements up to the next one. Yep, hit enter. And you're going to do order space by space line num. Now, if you don't specify, it defaults to ascending. You either send it ASC or DESC.
Do I need
So
to
do
do
space,
.ds? Oh, okay.
no, space, DSC, SC. Yep, run that. Okay. Now, let's say we want to order it by different ones. We have a couple 5s in there, okay? Let's order by the sales quantity. And then let's run it. You don't have to wait, just, yeah, run it. Go ahead, run it like that. That's fine. Okay, do 4 or 5s. Now take off the ASC. And then run it. So it just auto puts ASC if you do not specify, okay?
Gotcha, it's the default.
So, yep. So now let's say that we want to order by both first the sales quantity, then by the sales price. You can do multiple. Do a comma, yep, and do sales price. And then let's execute that. Now let's change the sales price to be descending. And you can see that it goes first by sales quantity, then by sales price. So this is, you can order what you're seeing in the data by adding an order by. And you can add multiple fields in there. Now, if we had multiple tables in here, it wouldn't like that you use sales quantity, sales price. You'd have to do the SL dot on those in the order by as well. Okay?
Yeah, I got you. And you should probably just do it no matter what, just for cleanliness, right? To keep the code nice. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Really, I should have done it in all of these.
Yeah, probably, but it doesn't matter right now.
Yeah.
Don't worry about that. You didn't really have to do it in any of them because we only did one table. It matters more when we're doing joins and getting other tables in. Okay. Now, let me know if you have any other questions right now, and then I'm gonna confuse you quite a bit. All right.
Now I would just say continue on because I'm
Okay.
understanding some of it, a little bit here and there, but yeah, it's already confusing.
By the end of this will make a lot more sense, I'm hoping. And like I said, this is basically multiple college courses, multiple years of doing this, and I'm trying to reduce it all into like a hour, 2-hour lesson, whatever to you. Okay, so yes, this stuff's really complicated, and I'm kind of simplifying some things. So let's launch Visual Studio. And you can just go into your Hello World project, that's fine, that we did last time. Load. All right, go into the user interface.
Back in here?
Yep. Right click in the middle of the space somewhere. Yeah, right there. So see how it says form information, that little pop-up? Yeah. It says the form name.
Sales
Click on
table.
that. Yeah, click on that. It's going to bring up this. And it basically is going to tell you the form, and then it's going to say some menu item that it came from, and it has the main query. So mouse over that query. This is like kind of SQL, but kind of like in between SQL, where it half turned it into SQL, but didn't fully. But see how it's doing like multi-joins there?
Yeah.
And selecting things and outer joins and stuff. So we're not quite there yet, but it does give you a SQL statement there to play with. Let's say that you want to figure out what an actual field is called without looking at the data. Okay. Hit the OK button here and go over to the product name. Right click on there. Yeah. So control name, item name. So form, sales table, control name, item name. Go into Visual Studio. On the left, we have something called the Application Explorer. Type sales table on the top there, where it says enter filter query. And enter. Okay. It's going to find anything that has the word sales in it. So these are like data types. We don't care about that. Right now we're looking for a form. So go ahead and either scroll down to that. You can resize that and drag it to the right so you can see it a little bit better if you want. You can just close all those and yep, sales table. Yep. Right click. View designer. Okay, so this is the form object itself. Go expand data sources. That's all the different tables that are in it. Now, we're going to find that specific thing that you're hovered over. Go back to the user interface. And it was item name. Go back into Visual Studio. In the search, type item name. Okay. So that's the top one, because that's extra stuff on top of it. So go to that item name. Yep. Right click. Properties. Okay. I don't like that your properties is small. I want you to grab that and then snap it in to the top one. So if you, drag that out and then, snap it there. Make it bigger. Expand the window to the left. You can see it. Okay. So there's a data source, sales line, and then data method. Data field would mean it's actually a field in it. Data method means it's calling code and then returning the value. I haven't exactly told you how to read the code, so this is probably going to be confusing. I don't want to really go into that. I was hoping it was just going to be a raw field. Let's go grab a different field. Let's do unit price. I think it was called like sales price. Yeah. See, it says that, but you cannot trust that. Because
you can't
they can
trust
rename
the sales line sales price, or can't trust what?
Yes, you can't. Don't think that that's the name of the field. Sales. That looks like, oh, it must be on the data source sales line and it must be called sales price. They can rename the data source to whatever they want. And sometimes it's imaginary tables. And then they could also, this is just the name of the control itself, not actually what the field is. So right click there, you want to go sales underscore price in this search here. In this case, it's going to match, I believe. Yeah, sales. I think it was just sales. No underscore in between sales underscore price. Sorry, it was sales line underscore sales, but just do sales price. All right. See how it says sales line underscore sales price? That's the one that we found. Right click on that. Go to properties. And here it's going to say sales line and data field sales price. So this is the exercise when you're asking, oh, well, what is the name actually? Well, go up a little bit on the properties. Okay. Right click on the grid. I'm going to really confuse you, but that's okay. This will make sense, and we're going to do it a bunch of times. So
where's
where it says
grid?
sales line under on the left, it says like sales line grid. Sorry, on the form thing. Details, pattern, transaction to the left of this. Sorry, I'm using terminology. I should explain this. So we basically have a tab, and then we have a tab details, and then a tab page, and a line table. And this field exists on a grid. I haven't taught you anything about forms yet. I'm using terminology that I haven't taught you yet. See where you have sales line underscore sales price, where you clicked to do the right click properties? Yep. Right click here. There's a go to table sales line. Click on that. So that is going to bring it up, and it's going to go to sales price. Now, see where it says label on sales price on the properties? Yep, click on that. See, it says unit price under label in the bottom section. No, down. It says label.
Oh, yes, right here.
Yep, yep. That's where that's coming from. Now, if this was blank, then it would pull it from the extended data type. So on the left, where you have sales price, right click on that. go to EDT base sales price. And then here, see this as a label. Select the label on the right.
There it is.
Properties. Yep, click on it. See, that's a sales price. So basically it works like this. On the table itself, you have extended data types. It'll inherit whatever label is on this extended data type, but you can override it on the field itself. Then when you drag it onto the form, you could override that on the form control itself. Go back into sales table that we were at. You have the tabs open, with the Hello World of Exos Plus. This is what I'm saying when I'm saying that's the control. It's called sales line, sales price. See how that has a label there that says unit price? That overrode what was on the table. There's actually a label here as well. So it makes it very confusing because you can relabel it at each stage. So when they want you to rename a label or change a label or something, then you have to figure out, am I changing it on the control or the table? Am I changing it? Like, where am I changing this thing, right?
Yeah,
I probably
and
just
the
confused
control and the table and all that stuff, so it makes no sense to me yet.
Correct, because I haven't taught you that yet. Yeah, but it's basically like a hierarchy of things. I haven't gone into extended data types either, but some of these things will be like, oh, you'll rewatch the lesson later, and then what I'm saying will make sense, and it'll make sense to a couple of people who know a little bit about that information right now. All right. So what I was trying to get at here, or the whole purpose of doing this, was kind of answering your question of why are the labels different, and how do we figure out what actually the field is to put in the SQL outside of looking at the data. So to do that, you go onto the form, you find the field, you right click, you find the form name, and you find the control name. You go on the left, you filter on the form, you open up the form, you put the control in, you look at the control, you look and see if it's a field method or if it's a field itself. If it's a field itself, then you could go to the actual field and you know the field name that you could pull to use in the SQL.
Yikes.
Clear as mud?
Yikes.
Yikes indeed. And you cannot trust, and this is where it gets really, really confusing. And if you're a functional person who happened to click into this tutorial, this is why you probably have trouble communicating with your technical people sometimes, because you're looking at the form and expecting the names to match, and they in fact are not guaranteed to match. The data source can be entirely made up too. It could be a temp table and be pulling from somewhere else. I haven't explained to you all what that meant, but the point is, what you see here on the grid and the user interface isn't at all representative of how it actually works behind the scenes. Okay?
Sure.
All right. Now, let's talk a little bit about databases in general. What is the purpose of databases? One of them is to enforce data integrity. You want a central source of truth for something. So think about if there was a bunch of Excel spreadsheets floating around and people are just adding item numbers. Well, if people are doing orders out of spreadsheets, you probably want the item numbers to match. Otherwise, someone has to open up all these spreadsheets and they have to figure out, like, what did you type here? What does this mean? It's much better if you could just select the item, right? The item exists, and then you're doing some sort of drop down, and they can only select something from the list. So they know, so you know that everyone's doing it the same way and we're always referring to the same item. You want a central source of truth in a bunch of these tables. This is where relationships come in. Now, you don't want to store everything in the same table. You probably don't remember matrix multiplication at all that we did back basically in high school. And I think, I don't know, algebra 2 or something. I think, yeah, algebra 2.
No, I don't think I remember much of that.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Just to give you kind of the point, when you're multiplying two matrices together, it becomes a bigger matrix. So if you're doing like a 3-1 to 1-3, it becomes a, I think, 3x3 matrix or something like that. The similar concept in this, where we're gonna, if we're joining all these, one, you don't want all the fields in a single table. You need to separate them out into tables for performance reasons. And then two, you only want to join on the fields that you want. And this will allow it to process. Then there's another angle to it, which is more like a performance-based reason for databases. And this is, think of a dictionary. When you're looking for something in a dictionary, if the word begins with an S, you just jump to the S's and start looking for the word, right? You're not going to start at page 1 and go through every A and then B and then C. Are you following what I'm trying to tell you right now?
Yeah, it makes sense. You're filtering.
Yeah, well, you're doing an algorithm to find your answer quicker. So there's this concept called indexes. If you remember back when we did library and learned about the Dewey Decimal System and how they did card catalogs, do you remember any of this?
Yeah, I get that.
So there'd be a card catalog that's like, give me all the science books. Okay, give me everything by this author. Give me everything by whatever. Those are kind of like indexes. So you know where to start. You can index certain fields, and that helps you with the search. And behind the scenes, it allows it to narrow down the records that you're searching through. Let's say you have like 1 million records in the table, and you want to find if a record exists in the table. And let's say it wasn't ordered, you might have to go through 1 million records to find your record, right? So if you want your top one, let's say you did a top one, only want to return one record, and it happened to be sorted at the end, you'd have to basically look through 1 million records to find it, right? Now, if they were sorted by something like a sales ID, then you could just jump all the way into that and find it quickly. Why is this important?
So is index and filter kind of interchangeable words at all, or are they completely different?
No, index is something behind the scenes that basically it stores a bunch of, it's kind of like the order by. It's a bunch of order bys that are stored behind the scenes. And then, how to say this? It comes up with the SQL, it looks at the query, it comes up with an execution plan, and then it looks like, hey, do I have any indexes I could use to optimize this thing? And then it goes and then it pulls from the index instead of pulling from the whole table. Does that make sense?
Yeah, a little bit. So you were telling me, why is this important then?
Because when you're dealing with large data sets, I said 1 million. What happens at 10 million? What happens at 20 million, 30 million, 50 million records? And then you're joining multiple tables. You have table 1 that has 1 million records in it, and you're joining it to table 2 that has 20 million records in it. And now you have a crap load of records, right? We're talking millions and millions of records. the performance, if we didn't have these indexes, would completely break down. So what these algorithms allow you to do is, instead of it growing linearly, which would be every record would cause a performance hit, it allows it to grow logarithmically. So it's not as bad. It's only growing performance-wise with like 100 records a little bit. So there's not much of a difference, especially with these indexes. And when you're applying these filters, there's not much of a difference between having 1,000,000 records in the table and having like 1,000 records in the table. But if we did it linearly, you'd have a huge performance issue between the two. That's kind of like a little bit of the backstory of like why even do databases, right? What's the point?
Gotcha.
So let me show you a little bit about what I mean with indexes. So go into Visual Studio and type, well, we can get to it in different ways. Remove sales price here and type sales table. It happened to be on here. And right click on sales table on the data sources.
On the data sources over here?
On the left. No, other left.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
gotcha.
Yeah. Right click. Go to table, sales table. By the way, very effective there, where you could move around two things with that go to. Very powerful. You see this section where it says indexes? Yeah, let's expand that. So they have a bunch of indexes on here. So go to sales ID X. Expand that. So this is just the sales ID index. It's one of the ones that's available. Whenever this is what makes it execute quickly when you do in your where clause where sales ID equal. Okay. Then there's like cust IDX. So any of the main fields that are going to be used, or combos of the fields, have indexes on them that you're going to be using. For this specific table, it would be sales ID most of the time. Same with the sales line, if we looked at that table. So you still have sales line open. So go into sales line. And you can hit the left arrow to de-expand the fields. Hit again.
Where at?
Just hit the left arrow on your keyboard.
Oh.
Yep, and hit again. Okay, hit the right arrow. You could use that, to navigate with the keys.
Yeah, that's
easier.
Very important to know. I appreciate that.
Okay, hit the left thing. Yep, down on the keyboard. No, keyboard. So you don't have to use the mouse.
I use
it's much faster
there.
to use.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha. Yep. So then look at sales line index. That one probably has sales ID. So this is sales ID and line number and record ID in it. Now, record ID is a system generated field behind the scenes that makes sure every single record has something unique to it. I want you to go back to sales table.
I've got two of them, the one we were at.
Yeah, I want the table itself, not the form. I'm not sure which one it is. It's the other one. You chose poorly. All right. See in this index, it says something allow duplicates on the right. No. That means when you add an index, it won't allow you to have two sales IDs in the same data area ID. So indexes can also be used to enforce integrity in your data. This prevents a second person from trying to make the same exact sales ID in your company, because you wouldn't want that, right? Then you wouldn't know the source of truth.
Right. No, that makes a lot of
If
sense.
you,
You wouldn't want to name two parts with the same sales ID or something. Sure, it would screw up a lot of things.
well, that would be item IDs, but yeah, for the sales order itself, because which one are you referencing? So
Yep.
if people are using like Excel spreadsheets, nothing stops them from just incrementing the sales ID, and then the other person does the same thing, and then they both use them, right? Behind the scenes here, with that number sequence, it's going to just do that for everybody so that they're not running into each other. And then this is going to enforce and make sure as an extra check that there's no duplicates in it. Let me think for a second about what else I want to show you here. Oh, okay. You notice in this index, even though it says allowed duplicates, you don't see a data area ID here.
Okay.
That's because it implicitly puts the data area ID into all these things, including the query when you're writing the code, unless you tell it otherwise, if it's a certain property on the table itself. So click on sales table at the top level so you can see the properties on the sales table itself. By the way, when we're in Visual Studio, everything's going to follow the same kind of structure where it's like the object name and then there's sub components that when you click on any of them, you're going to see properties on each of the things. If you scroll down here, you should see something called Save Data Per Company. If that's set to yes, then it means that the data area ID or legal entity is in play. And every query that's used on the table and the index and everything is going to be behind the scenes added into it. Okay?
I don't completely understand that, but
So when we write a query in actual X++ code, when we're not going to specify the data area ID, and when it actually behind the scenes translate it into SQL, it's going to add it back in, even though we didn't tell it to do it.
okay.
When we're joining two tables together with X++ code, it's going to add extra stuff to it for partition and company ID and make sure that you're joining in it. The reason why I'm pointing this out is one, a lot of people don't know this. Two, when we're doing the SQL, it doesn't add it in implicitly for us, so we have to add it into our clauses when we're doing the join. So this concept's going to get drilled into your head.
Okay, and the data area ID, what is that? Why is that important?
Well, that is a good question. Let's go back to the SQL. Okay, let's comment out the data area ID. You're also going to have to comment the and out. So where it says SL dot sales ID, yeah, click there, hit enter. Okay, in front of the and, you want to do dash dash. That's like 2 to the left of the backspace key. Yep, that's how you comment something out. And in the where clause where it says sales sl.data area ID, yep, click there, dash dash. Okay, select these, run this statement.
The whole thing?
Yeah, we have 15 lines. Because we're not filtered. So see, sales IDs are just unique in combination with the data area ID. By the way, let's go ahead and add data area ID and sales ID to the fields that were selected. In your select top one.
So data area ID.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
Sales ID.
I don't think it found sales ID. Is it something else?
Nope, it's sales ID. You definitely used it. Doesn't have to find it. Yeah, it's annoying. It's not always correct. Sometimes it'll completely give things. You have to be confident in it. Give double commas.
Yeah.
We'll do it.
I think I got rid of something. But...
that's fine. I think you got rid of line. You got rid of line num. Do line num. Okay, let's change your sort order to be data area ID, comma, line num.
So
By the way,
instead
people
of
might
these?
say, yeah. People might say sort instead of order by.
Okay.
Like an end user. Didn't like your spelling of it. Yeah, you got to be careful with that, which is annoying. It knows best, right?
Most of the times, right?
No,
Or none of the times?
Almost never in my experience. This is interesting. For whatever reason, that other sales order didn't have any line numbers associated with it. I think because those are, why don't they? It's either wrong data or something's weird with it.
Maybe they named it something different instead of line num. They have it.
No,
Okay.
it's just wrong data. I'm pretty sure.
Gotcha.
It should have a line number with it.
But I mean, that
anyways,
is the most important thing that I found is data area ID points to our company that we're looking at, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So whatever you're in the user interface, all the forms are auto-filtered on that data area ID. So it implicitly puts it into your query. So when we looked at that sales line list, you didn't see 2 sales IDs. You only saw 1. It's already pre-filtered on this. And when we're writing X++ code, if that property is set on the table, it's going to put it in there. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I want you to go to AXDB on the left.
You want me to expand it?
Yep. Expand that sucker. And tables.
Found a couple.
Okay. Yep. Click on one of these. Type dbo dot sales table. Yep. Let's expand that. Let's scroll down a little bit. Yep. Go to indexes. Okay. Scroll to the right. So see that index where it says sales ID index, it named them all. Yeah, that's the one that we were looking at. Okay. Look at columns. And this is the fields. They're called columns in this. Now you might notice there that some of them say int, some of them say NV car 10.
Oh, jeez. Is there a way to go to where you have it highlighted if you mess that up?
No. You have to do the same thing again. You know, it's a multi-enterprise for 200 million plus businesses, Derek. What do you expect from a small company that's may or may not be one of the most valued in the whole world, okay?
Fair enough.
This is their product, okay?
So like Visual Studio, can I use my keyboard, push left and right to
Yes.
expand? Okay.
Yes. Yes. That feature actually works. So these are the fields, but what I wanted you to see is integer, which is a number, right?
Yep.
N varchar 100. What do you think that means?
Level 100 mage in Warcraft, probably.
Yeah, probably. It's pretty up there. It's a pretty hard boss. No, but what do you really think it means?
Nvar, some kind of something. It probably has to be a character less than 100 letters long, but I'm not sure what Nvar means.
Okay. So characters is this it's like each individual ASCII character or whatever they're using now. So it takes a number and it translates into either a symbol or lowercase, uppercase, whatever. Okay.
Okay.
A string is a bunch of characters. So it's basically an nvarchar is the way it actually works. So sales ID means a up to 100 character string.
Okay.
So a string is made up of characters, basically, behind the scenes. So nvarchar 10 means that it's a 10 character string.
Okay.
It only has that amount of space. We have to specify the space of like how much it's reserving. You don't want to reserve tons and tons of memory, right? You don't want like infinite or go to the max and everything. You want to keep these small because then when you're doing a query, it's going to return way more data than you're wanting, right?
Yeah.
The more data, then the more performance hit. Now, let us go look at, let's see here, what's one? Line DISC. See how it is? nvarchar 10?
Yep.
Okay. Go into Visual Studio. Go into Fields. Yep, line to set. So see this here? It's using an extended data type. And look at the string size.
10.
10. Okay? That's the string size. Where it's coming from. If it didn't, that's getting pulled from the extended data type.
Okay. So.
Yeah. Now, go see that the sales ID is using sales ID base in the extended data type.
Where's the extended data type?
Right there, it says extended
Oh,
data
yes,
type.
okay.
Yeah, yeah. Sales ID base. Go to sales line. No, not in here. The other table. You have it open in the middle, in the top.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Darn it, Derek, why can't you read my mind?
I'm sorry. I'm doing my best.
I know what I meant, okay? It's a hard thing to do. It'll make sense after you get used to this is like this is your first time navigating any of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it'll be intuitive once you get used to it with any program. Right now it's just completely overwhelming. I'm sure this whole lesson has been pretty overwhelming. But that's pretty expected. I'm just kind of throwing you into the deep end and building up concepts.
Okay.
All right, go to fields here.
Fields.
Yep.
A certain
And
field?
go to, yep, sales ID. You either search or start typing it, by the way, too, and you can find it.
Okay.
So this is also using extended data type sales ID base. Okay.
Yep.
Go into the user interface. Yep. Add a line. Oh, that was actually, this is a terrible example because this wouldn't have the sales ID. That's okay. Click on item number. See, there's like a drop down thing. Yep, click on that. That's going to show you all the items. So basically, on the extended data types, there's a lot of pre-built logic behind it that if you're using the extended data type, it's going to auto give you this lookup without you having to actually build this thing every time. Same with the sales table. So extended data types not only are used for getting the labels in, and it's not only used for being consistent across the tables, but it's also used to give you default lookups, basically, in places.
Okay.
All right. We are at about an hour and 21 minutes. We're almost done with this lesson. We're getting there. We're getting there. We got a little bit more thing that I want to show you. Go into Visual Studio. Go into Solution Explorer on the right. Okay. Right-click your Hello World project. Probably should actually have you do a new one. No, above that. Add. New item. And we're going to select table. The D365 items. And it's going to be under the data model. And table. And in the name. Now, if you hit add there, it's going to name table 1, which you don't want to do. Just do TRJH and then say sales table. And then we're going to add. All right, let's go to the properties on that. You can't select the properties from there. You have to select it from the middle form. For some reason, they decided that these two things are not the same.
So I have to go over here.
Because the same property, yes, yeah. It won't let you edit certain properties on it, even though it pulls up the same properties. It like loses focus. Huh. I don't know. Yeah, indeed. Okay, so go to the bottom and table type. I want you to just look at that. There's regular, in-memory, and tempdb. All the tables that you see in the SQL are all regular. I'm not going to teach you what those other things may mean yet because they're super advanced. Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to point out. If you are seeing a table in the form and it's a table and you see it in here and you're not seeing it in the SQL, then it probably means that they selected a different table type. That's what I want you to know right now.
Okay.
I'm just giving you random bits of information. I'm hoping some of this is going to stick. Don't worry, I'm going to repeat it a billion times through the other lesson. All right. Let's set that save data per company to no. Okay. And then let's grab the application explorer on the left. Far left. Yep. At the top, go ahead and pin this. We're going to be dragging from it. Type sales ID base in the top section for the search. Okay. Drag that over to the fields.
To in here? Oh.
Yeah. See where it says fields there? Yep.
Yep.
Drop cannot be completed. Model incomplete between source and target elements. Please share the target elements. Is model references. Okay. In our other lesson, we didn't have you add application suite to the model that we're in, so we got to add that really quick. Click OK here. Go to extensions.
I'm looking at the top.
In the top,
okay.
Very top. Yep. Dynamics 365 and model management. Okay. And update model parameters and select our model that we made. This is, I think, TRJHTECH. Next. And see, now it'll be near the top.
Application suite right here.
Yep. Click next.
Okay. So yeah, this is one of the errors you said it might throw
Yeah,
since we didn't select all the packages. Or,
yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Correct. Yep. Because I wanted to show you how to add this. So hit next, and then you can just finish. And next. Okay. Now you can drag that in. Okay.
Hooray.
Hooray. All right. Hit the save, the disk for save all. Now go to Solution Explorer on the right. On the Hello World project, right click on it. Yep. Rebuild. So in order to get it to show up in SQL Management Studio and changes to tables and changes to EDTs, you need to synchronize the database. The synchronize operation basically takes whatever you have in this nicer interface and it translates it into SQL statements, and then it goes and messes with the structure on the SQL backend in the database itself. So this finished, right click on Hello World again. Yep. And there should be a synchronize Hello World with database. Click on that. It should start a database sync. Sometimes it doesn't actually do this. Uh-oh, it didn't like something. What error did you get?
So it says completed, I thought.
Yeah, well.
Okay, synchronization, unable to synchronize database error, system aggregate exception.
Okay, scroll down. This happens sometimes in the newer one where it like doesn't like it and then it recovers. Do a sync again. I don't know if it actually went through or not. No, it says that it did.
It says completed at the bottom.
All right. Let's yeah, well, you know, the messages don't always mean something. It says validation completed and validation stop database. So I don't know if it actually synced or not, because when it errors out, it usually completely errors out and gets stuck. Okay. Go back into SQL Management Studio that you still have open.
Okay.
All right. Now, scroll up on the far left. Let's just hit the keys. We don't need the fields, whatever. We want to get back to the thing. No, don't click into there. Yeah, left, left, left. Okay. Right click on AXDB. Hit refresh. I'm going to reread all the tables and stuff. Now go to tables. Okay, click. Just on any of them. And then dbo.ter. And then scroll. You should find our TRJH if it actually
I tried to put a J in there too and it didn't find it.
Yeah, good. I don't think it actually went through with the sync. Try to sync again.
Okay.
As of whatever version that they're doing, sometimes it auto gives that error and then you just have to resync and it solves itself. I don't know. Some initialization that isn't working or something. Just Microsoft things. This looks more like what I was expecting.
Take a little bit longer like this.
Yes, yeah. It should give different
Gotcha.
output, not some errorless. Well, people can say what they will about these tutorials, but at least they're real. We'll do it live. Yeah, there you go. This is what I thought we would get.
Okay.
Okay.
So now go back to
so that
SQL.
was the validation that was the validation that completed, not that it actually synced it. So now go into there. You're gonna have to refresh again. It's fine because you're getting more used to these. Refresh at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay. Tables.
Oops. There it is.
Yeah. All right. So it's in there. So now let's do we could look at what's in there. Go ahead and expand it. And we didn't add in any indexes. Look at the columns. So there's just sales ID partition, which it auto puts in, a record ID, record version, and sysrow version. So you always have those 3 fields that auto puts in there, well, with the partition. Now, why is there no data area ID?
I assume there's no company assigned to it?
Oh.
Or it's not assigned to a company?
Well, it was a property that we selected. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Don't save company or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what determines whether it's going to put a data area ID on the table.
Okay.
Yep. So go back in to Visual Studio and change that property on the table. Yes. Nope. Go from the middle. You have it open.
From the middle. Got it.
Yep. Yeah, unfortunately.
Save data
well,
for
actually,
company, we want yes.
Yeah. Especially on like data area IDs and when you're selecting properties. So it'll act like you could change it and then you just won't be able to select it. Yeah, hit
Can I see what this looks like?
Got a property. Yep. Do it. It looks exactly the same, right? Except for you can't change it.
You can't. Okay.
That's us. Yeah.
So this is a read only. This is edit.
I don't know why.
Or I don't know.
But yes, for some reason. All right, we're gonna add some more properties in here too, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Modify date time. Switch that to yes. Modify by yes. Create a date time. Create a by. Put those to yes. So if you turn on these, it's going to add extra fields to it. And then behind the scenes, it's going to maintain these. So when you create the record, to do the first insert of it, it's going to stamp who created it behind the scenes and the date time that they used. And then anytime someone modifies it, it's going to tell you the last person who modified it and when it was modified. That's useful in some tables, especially for troubleshooting and stuff. So let's hit save. Okay, now we need to go to the Solution Explorer. Nope. You don't push anything until you sync. So we're going to have to build and sync, where you don't see any of the changes that we did. So go into Visual Studio.
Okay, I got you. Solution Explorer here.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we need to sync.
Build. Nope. You got to build first.
Okay.
If you sync, it'll be the snapshot in time before you build.
So build or rebuild?
Do rebuild because it does a clean and that does a build. I always do rebuild because there are caching issues sometimes. Sometimes you have to force it to build, and sometimes you have to sync the whole thing because these buttons just stop working, which is lovely. So when you're hearing me complain about, I mess with blah, blah, blah for X hours. That's why like little buttons that are supposed to work stopped working. And then you get to fidget with it. Okay. It's part of the job. So I can't imagine someone trying to figure out this on their own that doesn't know as much as me without someone just telling them, yeah, that just kind of happens sometimes. You know what I mean? Like the thing I just had to do. Oh, synchronize the thing. Oh, I got an error. Yeah, that kind of just happens sometimes. You could burn an hour trying to figure out. Yeah, exactly. Just hit the sync again. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No big deal. But do you imagine trying to figure that one out on your own? All right. Then it finished, so you can sync.
And I assume with bigger companies and more data, these syncs take a lot longer.
Well, if you're changing the properties on it, it may or may not take longer, but yeah, it's running things. If you're changing, well, let's say that you change a string from a 20 to a 10, well, it's going to go truncate something. Or if you change it from a 20 to a 30, it's going to go add space for everything on every single record in there.
All right, so that was completed.
Yep. So now if we go back into here, now you're not going to see anything different here until you got to go refresh.
That didn't work.
No, you got to select the one below it before you do it. Yep.
Okay.
And then columns. So now we have a bunch of fields that are added in there just by messing with the properties. So I guess the key takeaway here is properties do things. Okay.
Yep. So there's our data area, our D. Yep. Modified by, date, time, created by. Yep. Got them all.
So based on those properties, it changes how the sync works. So basically, it's like a schema in Visual Studio that's an easier to use interface that you could do a bunch of advanced stuff with. And then behind the scenes, when it's synchronizing, it then looks at that and reads it and then translates that into a bunch of SQL statements that it runs over here to actually insert the table.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are you ready to feel like a school kid? Because you're going to get homework today.
Wonderful.
Okay. Go into the user interface. Let's select the menu on the left. By the way, when you build, it's going to drop and redo the connection every time because you push code from it.
I see.
And then you get to wait. You want to minimize your builds. Now, when you're first building code, I would not worry about minimizing, and I would just build piece by piece and add it and just keep building. As you get more advanced, then you're going to want to build a little bit more because this is going to cost you a lot of time having to wait for it to refresh. We gave you a bunch of RAM, your computer's really strong, so it's good, but on a dev box that you pay Microsoft for, it takes a long time. Okay, select the menu on the left. Okay, modules, accounts payable, all purchase orders. Okay, click on 18 there. Yep, into it. Okay. Here's your homework. Choose one of these, and I want you to select the header record, and I want you to select the lines that are in this company on our purchase order. That's homework 1.
Okay,
Think
so
you can do it?
probably not.
Okay, well, this is how we test our knowledge. You have your sales ones, which you probably want to back up those because when you shut down your box, you're probably going to close them. So go into your SQL Management Studio or your query window. And you either want to put that in Notepad or you can click Save, and you could just save that as a certain query thing. Hit Save disk. Yep. And then this is under SQL Management Studio. You might want to just do Documents here on the left, or Desktop, and then label this like Basic Query or something. Basic Select, let's call it. Yep, and then save. That way you can open that back up. So we went over a little bit how you can, I'm going to refresh and recap some things, okay, which is going to help you a little bit with the homework. Go to the user interface. Right click. So we could find the form information in Visual Studio. We can type in that form and we can look at the data sources on it. We also can right click on a specific control, right? So if we go item number and right click on the header, it's going to give you the control name, which you could put that into Visual Studio and find the actual control, and then go look at the properties on that, get to the table with that go to, and that's how you could find out what certain fields are with the table and the names of the tables that it's associated with, or what you're going to have to do with SQL.
Yeah,
Are you going to struggle with this? Probably, yes, but I want you to give it a good whatever, try and look at the other one and see if you could do it, because that's how you remember things, by doing, right?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'll give it a shot. I'll definitely just have to rewatch the last part of this video just to remember what the homework is exactly, but
Okay.
But yeah, I'll try my best on it.
All right. So we're going to wrap this lesson up here. It is like almost a 2-hour lesson. I bet your brain is fried. Honestly, you should watch the whole lesson, probably just end to end before you do the homework. Well, maybe you should attempt it first and then watch the lesson. But
yeah, I think I'll attempt it first. I mean, like you said, a lot of this we're throwing it to the wall and see what sticks and kind of building from there and stuff. So I don't, even watching the whole thing, it might help later on to get a reference for some things, but I don't know if it'll help right now. I need to learn some of the basics too, for sure.
Yep. But hopefully you learned a lot in this lesson, kind of, okay, here's these properties. Why are we using databases to begin with? Here's how we look at it in the user interface. And then here's the raw data behind it. Hey, where are these fields coming from? Hey, why is this data filtered the way it is? Hopefully a lot of those questions that you had were answered in this session. But I know it covered quite a bit. So.
Yeah, but like you said, I mean, just navigating through all this stuff, it's definitely going to help just doing it over and over. So yeah, that's better than nothing for sure.
And we jumped through 3 different programs, right? This user interface is kind of like a program on its own. Then we did Visual Studio, and then we did SQL Management Studio. They kind of follow the same principles to a certain extent, but they are also very intimidating and look different. And you're not used to it and what sections, what you could even do on them, but we'll build that up slowly as we're getting into these.
Okay, sounds good.
Okay, so in the next one, we'll go over your homework, help you through there, and then we're going to continue on the path and learn some more advanced SQL.